Hey everyone, happy Tuesday. Welcome if you are rejoining my channel. Welcome if this is your first time as well. My name is Marissa Price. I am a Black woman social worker, freelance educator, and coach, really helping us all collectively get free. And so if you are joining live in the chat, please introduce yourself so we can say hello as always. But yeah, the topic of this video is how Black women are harmed by the glass ceiling and the glass cliff combined. So it's really about intersectionality, which I'll get into today. But yeah, so our unique experiences in the workplace, right, as Black women, they're informed by, of course, anti-Blackness, right, systemic racism, as well as gender discrimination, sexism, misogyny, and a lot of the other isms that form the basis of our treatment in the workplace, which is what we're going to talk about. But yes, yeah. So the glass cliff, I do have definitions here. Actually, glass ceiling first. Invisible barriers women and people of marginalized groups face when trying to advance to higher level positions. So we see this a lot for Black women in the workplace, right? When we go for a higher position, from pet to threat is very real as well, which is a phenomenon I talk about on my channel a lot, coined by 3 Black women professors, right? When we enter these workplaces with all of our talents, all of our gifts, and then we're told, right, the message is to try to excel, right? Go to the next level, the corporate ladder that a lot of us have climbed. We get there, right? And then the glass cliff comes into play. So this is when women and other marginalized groups are appointed to leadership positions during times of crisis, setting them up for failure. So a lot of the times we'll be in these positions without adequate resources, without adequate mentorship, really being told like what we're supposed to do in these jobs. And then we're set up to fail, right, in these positions. Hey, good to see you here. Butterfly effect. Yes, relevant topic, and I'm looking forward to the conversation. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm not sure how long this video will be. These are just like my musings on the combination between the glass cliff and the glass ceiling, and how they really impact us as Black women in the workplace, right? We're often told like the glass ceiling is this invisible thing that we can't break through as women, but yet the glass cliff functions so that Black women often are placed in positions of leadership, again, during times of crisis, not given adequate support, resources, and then we're kind of essentially thrown off this glass cliff. We manage to break through the ceiling, but then we're thrown off the cliff, right? So how does this impact us in the workplace? And if you have any thoughts or experiences that you'd like to share, please share those as well. Yes. Right. So intersectionality is huge, right? Systemic racism, like I said, sexism, misogyny, all the other isms, ageism, colorism, texturism, featureism, disability, right? Disability status is huge. Hey, good to see you here. Good to see you here. Thank you for joining. Yes. So how do these all intersect to impact Black women's experiences in the workplace? Let me put my banner back up here. Yes. Yeah. So, yes, if you have experienced any of these instances, right, of being thrown off the glass cliff, which I feel like that happened to me. I did a video of it that I linked in the description section. But being promoted to a really huge role at a young age, too, not given adequate support, resources, right? Understanding of what I was supposed to be doing. So I was like piecing together everything by myself, which a lot of us, as I have talked with my clients, right? A lot of us are placed in these positions. We're given these like Herculean tasks, like agendas to lead, and we're not given the direction. So we're also having to figure out what our job is supposed to be while also supposed to be doing our job, right? That's supposed to be laid out already for us before we even enter into the role. What is the job description? What are the resources? Where are the support networks? That's supposed to be in place before we even start. But a lot of the times we're just thrown into these roles, these positions without adequate support. Again, like thinking that Black women are like the super women, right? Coming in to save an organization, to save an agenda. But we need support in these. We don't necessarily know what we're doing in these roles. And that's an additional job to have to figure out what the job is, right? That should already be put in place before we even enter the workplace. So if you've experienced this too, please let me know. Like I said, having talked to clients over the past few months, right? This has happened to so many of us. We've been thrown into these situations without adequate support, help, understanding, resources when we do try to do our jobs. The job description, right, is not taken well often, which is confusing, which is very confusing. And it sets us up to fail, which is the whole like concept of the glass cliff. We're being set up to fail in a lot of these workplaces, right? Again, when women and other marginalized groups are appointed to leadership positions during times of crisis, setting them up for failure. So we often will internalize what we're experiencing in these situations where we were not given adequate support, direction, resources, mentorship. We'll internalize that as something is wrong with us. And then that's when our self-confidence begins to wane, right? We begin to see like the effects of thinking that something is inherently wrong with us versus externalizing it to the environment, which is so important to healing. This is just an environment that sets you up to fail, right? And that's like a harsh truth, but it can really help you begin the process of healing. It was only the environment, it was never you, right? Taking that off of yourself. You were literally thrown off a glass cliff, right? Again, we see the term glass ceiling all the time. You managed to break through the invisible barrier that women often face, right? That keeps us from a lot of these higher positions. You managed to break through that. And yet at the other side of that was a glass cliff. So when do the obstacles stop? That's really the question, right? When do the setups stop? In a lot of these workplaces, the answer is never, right? It's one after the other, after the other, after the other, which is why we have to have such a solid understanding of who we are, our skill set, which I talk a lot about, that we come into the workplace already having, that it's unshakable, right? That no one can put doubt into our minds about the skills that we bring in, the level of expertise that we have in our fields. That has to be inside you, right? And you have to build like a force field around that because it will be attempted to, like people will try to take that down, right? And I do want to say, if you're interested in attending the upcoming 2025 Job Liberation Virtual Summit for Black Women that I'll be co-hosting, again with Dr. Kimani, let me put the link in the description. Please get on the wait list. We are behind the scenes scheduling all the things that is required for a virtual summit. If you've hosted a virtual summit before, let me know, right? Because it is a lot of work. I don't think people truly understand, right? That you have so many moving pieces at the same time that you have to get everyone on the same page, set up the actual platform, make sure everything's functioning correctly. It's a lot. It's a lot. So yes, we're looking forward to it, to give y'all resources, exit planning strategies, practical tips, as well as community, right? People who have been through the same thing, surviving a toxic job experience and getting to the other side. That's powerful to see. So if you'd like to join the wait list, please do so here at this link. But yeah, go through my notes and let me know how y'all are doing. I know my anxiety is like extremely high in preparation for the 20th, right? And we know that we've seen throughout history, this is not new, right? It's really not new, but there's a level of uncertainty still that's kind of looming. I think I'm kind of blurry. But yeah, let me know how y'all are feeling. There's a lot going on in the world. If you are in LA, California, sending my thoughts to y'all. That has just been, I don't think there's a word, right? Devastating. Seeing historically Black communities in LA and the impacts that have been made by the fires, just devastating. Devastating. So there's a lot going on in the world. Let me know how you're doing. But yeah, let me get back to my notes. Right, so Black women were often given roles, these huge roles with high risks, but low support. Yes. Good afternoon. What is the benefit to the workplace with the glass cliff? Is it to place blame? Let me know more. Let me know more about your question. The benefit to the workplace with the glass cliff. How the workplace benefits? How the workplace benefits from the glass cliff. That's a deep question, actually. If that's your question, let me know. I think there's a level of joy sometimes that people get from seeing, especially Black women, fail, right? Being set up to fail. There's a level of satisfaction as certain people get that I have. Okay, yes. Are they doing this intentionally? Yeah. My personal opinion, yeah. Based on my experiences, again, what clients have shared with me, what I went through myself, yeah. Yeah, it is intentional. And I think Jackie Abram says often, like, this is not unconscious bias. I mean, let's be real. This is not unconscious bias. This is intentional, leading people off a glass cliff without the adequate support, resources, mentorship, just so you can say, see, we tried. We tried to give this person a position and they couldn't make it happen, right? Behind the scenes, the whole time you were setting them up to fail. So yeah, this is highly intentional. Yes. Thank you for that question. Yeah. And hi, welcome. Thank you for joining. Great topic that I can relate to. Yeah. Yeah. I think the benefit is simply maintaining the racial hierarchy. Butterfly effect. Always coming through with the gems. Yes. Yes. That's so true. That is the benefit, right? So you can maintain your sense of false superiority. So you can say, like, see, I was able to do it. Meanwhile, you had all of the resources, you were set up to succeed versus being set up to fail. But now you can look at yourself, right, in your mind and be like, well, see, I am superior and they are inferior. Even though you set up the playing field so that it would inevitably end up like that. It's very twisted. Very twisted. Yeah, I've never heard this term. I think I've experienced this. Wow, yeah. Ooh, I know when I first came across the glass cliff, I hadn't heard of that term either. It was in a CNN article that I had come across, and specifically talking about Black women's experiences in the workplaces. We're often given these, again, huge tasks, roles, positions that we're highly qualified for. We come in and we excel, right? And then we're thrown off the cliff, right? Because we're not given the adequate support, even though we manage to excel, right? There's a certain point where it becomes a breaking point. And that is the glass cliff, because we're not super women, right? We're human beings. And so there will eventually be a point where the lack of support, mentorship, resources will come to a head. And really, the power is in not internalizing what's happening to you, but externalizing it to the environment that you're in. They didn't set you up to succeed. They set you up to fail. Yeah. Yeah, again, the glass cliff, when women and other marginalized groups are pointed to leadership positions during times of crisis, setting them up for failure. We see this all the time in DEI spaces. Oh, wow. Right? Which is what I was in. Whew. Being set up without people really being on board with your position and what you're doing, right? It just being like a figurehead position, but you're, yes. Hey, Alicia, good to see you here. Yes. But you're being set up, right, to fail because you're not given the adequate things that you need. So you're essentially thrown off the glass cliff. You manage to make it past the glass ceiling, right, which I'll put up the definition again. Invisible barriers women and people of marginalized groups face when trying to advance to higher level positions. A lot of the times we are in these higher positions, but once we get there, we don't have the adequate support, right? Understanding of the roles that we're entering into, because no one told us. We don't have the training. We don't have the mentorship. All these are missing pieces. And we will internalize that as something's wrong with us, right? We'll do extra labor trying to teach ourselves the job, which a lot of my clients have told me about. Trying to study and basically like do the role, create the role that you were already hired for. That's extra labor, right? That's an extra salary that you need. And it's not fair. It's really not fair. Yes. Yeah, it takes intentional thinking to treat certain people different from others. It is intentional. It is. It is. Yeah. And it does. Yeah. The joy, I don't know. I don't know what feeling you must get when you set people up to fail. That's a foreign concept to me. I don't know, but it is intentional. Yeah. My boss has been saying there is something different about you in our one-on-one, making fun of no. My struggling to hold the balls in the air. Butterfly effect. I'm sorry. Yeah. Mm-mm. That's infuriating. Right? That's infuriating. I'm sorry that that's happening to you. Yeah. Ooh, yeah. And this is intentional, right? It has to be underscored. And this is nothing that you're doing. This is nothing that you're doing. In fact, we're often doing our job so well that the treatment worsens, right? It worsens. And I haven't seen this with any other group like Black women in the workplace, especially, right? When we excel, the daggers come out, right? The insults start because someone's deep insecurity is being triggered. And that is their response as an emotionally immature person, right? I'm sorry. Yeah. 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 The treatment worsens as you pass the test. Yeah. That's so true. That's so true. Thank you for sharing that. And I'm so glad that more of us are sharing this because as overachievers, right, as people who excel often, straight A students, right, just, the academic awards just piled up for me. But getting in these work environments, and you see that the same things you were told to achieve now make you a threat. That's confusing. It's confusing. And it happens to so many of us, right? And the more that we share our stories, we're able to like link the threads together. Like, oh, this is not me. This is not me. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. So again, intersectionality is so helpful in understanding Black women's experiences in particular in the workplace, coined by Kimberly Crenshaw. So it's a way to understand how systems of oppression interact with each other to create distinct experiences and outcomes. Our experience in the workplace is like no one else's, right? It's not that we're just facing the glass ceiling, which white women often talk about, right? We're often facing the glass cliff as well, simultaneously. And how is that impacting us at work? I'm not sure. Oh, no, you're good. I'm not sure I communicated well, but I think it's sometimes done to take the heat off the people above you. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. No, you're fine. Yeah. Thank you for that. Yeah, to take the heat off the people above you. Yeah. Ooh, the hierarchy. The forced hierarchy. Ooh, that can be a whole other video. Yeah. Okay, get back to my notes. Yeah, let me know how y'all are doing. Like I said, my anxiety in preparation for whatever is to come on the 20th. It's high. It's very high. So if you're feeling the same way, know that you're not alone. Right? Like I said, like throughout history, we can see patterns This is nothing new, yet the level of uncertainty that is like looming is creating a lot of feelings of anxiety and just, I don't know, discomfort. Yeah. So let me know how you're feeling. Oh, you're welcome. I look forward to the day this stuff no longer triggers me. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And if this is triggering, please, if you need to take a step away or look at the replay, please do so, because I know that this stuff can still be triggering for me to talk about. So yeah, I totally get that. Yeah. And if you are interested in attending the 2025 Job Liberation Virtual Summit for Black Women, which is not until May, so it will kick off May 16th. Get on the wait list here so you can be the first to be notified when we release tickets, announce speakers, all the good stuff. And I'll link it here in the chat too. But yeah, I think that was all my notes for today. I think this is going to be a short live. But I do want to thank you all for being here, for sharing everything that you shared. Again, this is healing collectively when we are able to share our experiences in the place, right, openly, to foster a shared sense of healing, community building, and to emphasize, right, the importance of externalizing what's happening to us. It's so important to not internalize people's mistreatment, insults, right? All the things that come along in a toxic work environment, to literally create a shield around yourself. If you're still in the midst of exit planning, of making your exit strategy, and you have to be there, create that force field around yourself and remind yourself over and over again that it's not you. Even if you need it on a post-it note in front of you, like it's not me. That can be helpful to remind yourself. Because again, let me put this up here because this really, really hit butterfly effect. I think the benefit is simply maintaining the racial hierarchy. Right? So what if you took the blame off yourself, realize that we are in systems of oppression that are literally functioning to try to convince us that something is wrong with us at every turn. And put the blame back onto those systems and off of you. How could you free yourself from what you might have been carrying before? Right? Oh, you're so welcome. You're so welcome. Yeah. Bully bosses enjoy the pain they inflict. That's so on the Mark Yoga Bliss stance. Yes. Thank you for joining. Yes. Joy. Right. So for some people, joy is in seeing other people suffer. Again, that's a complete foreign concept to me. I have no idea how people can get joy out of that, but they do. They do. The more they mistreat you, the more joy it brings them. Right? And it's realizing that it's not you. Yeah. Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you for being here. As always. Yeah. Yes. Thank you for joining. Yes. Practice good self-care and keep doing things you love. Don't let work take over your life. Yes. Self-care is so important. Yeah. Yeah. And keep doing things you love. Yeah, that's so true. Because it can literally feel like the joy is like sapped out of you in these work environments. And so pouring back into yourself, whatever way that looks like for you, is important. It's actually critical, right? The patriarchy as well, and those who are oppressed often help maintain these oppressive structures. Yes. Thank you for this. Yeah. Because you need people, right, to constantly uphold and maintain oppressive systems. They don't sit there by themselves and function. People actually have to uphold them. And so there are people who are willing to do that. Happy. Again, that's a viewpoint that I had known nothing about, but I've seen it. Yeah. Literally getting pleasure from people suffering. Yes. Yeah. So when we think about, again, like the systems, going back to intersectionality, these are systems of oppression that we're living in, that we're having to function in daily. And so, how can you place that blame on the systems, preserve your inner peace, realize that nothing is wrong with you, nothing was ever wrong with you? It is, in fact, the environment. And that is it. That's it. It's the environment. All right. So, if you are coming up against the glass ceiling, not being able to advance to a higher position, even though you're overly qualified, you have all the skills, you have all the talents, we know how it works. Or being thrown off the glass cliff, being placed in a leadership position, right? Being set up for failure, not given the appropriate resources, support, mentorship, direction. Know that it's not your fault, right? That's really the basis of this video. It's not your fault. Yes. Hi, Yvonne. Yes. That's it. Bullying bosses. Yes. Hey, Maya. Yes, some cliches are true. Misery loves company and hurt people hurt people. Yes. Yeah. Yes, it's an investment in the image they need to showcase their alignment with oppressive forces, and that they find power in everything that power brings: mobility, ignorance, apathy, social currency. Mic drop. Thank you. That's true. That's true. Yeah. Ooh. I gotta go back and screenshot this. It's true. Yeah. The image they need to showcase their alignment with oppressive forces, and that they find power in everything that power brings: mobility, ignorance, apathy, social currency. Thank you for sharing that. Yes. Yeah. So thank y'all so much for, again, sharing. I love when we can learn from each other, because that just like, whew. There were comments already. I've only been on 27 minutes, but the comments already in the chat, y'all, expanded my understanding of this topic, healed parts of me from that toxic job experience, right? So that's like the importance and how critical it is for community knowledge sharing, because we literally heal parts of ourselves when we share what we've been through with safe people, right? So we can see that it's not us, because this can feel extremely isolating. If either of these or a combination of both is happening to you, it can feel like you're the only one in the world going through this. But then you see other people, right, saying, no, this happened to me too. Right? It's not you. It's the system. It's the environment, period. That's it. It's the environment. Right? That's it. Yep. The setup for failure. Yes. That is the glass cliff. Yeah. Again, being placed or being asked to take on these roles, sometimes additional roles outside of our job. That's a whole other topic. Not being compensated for that. And we know Black women are often asked to take on initiatives, right? Book clubs, teaching people what they should already be teaching themselves. But this is commonplace in the workplace. And then once we get into these positions, people don't want us there, right? So it's like a game that oppressors play. It's like a really twisted game that, again, brings them joy, satisfaction, when the outcome is inevitably someone fails, because you set them up for that, of course. What was the other outcome? Right? But you get to sit in your false sense of superiority, look down on someone else who you view as inferior, knowing that you withheld everything that could have helped them succeed. But you don't focus on that part. It's twisted. It's strange. It is. It is strange. Yep. And the fact that we see this happening over and over again, right? Talking about Black women's experiences, right? To so many of us. So many of us. Again, the glass ceiling, which white women often refer to, right? Not being able to break through this to advance to a leadership position. We're facing this on top of being set up to fail, which is why intersectionality is so important, right? Dealing with sexism, misogyny, in addition to anti-Blackness, systemic racism, ageism, colorism, texturism, featureism, disability status, poverty status, the list goes on and on. Fat phobia, right? So all of these identities that we have, how they intersect, they really inform like the experience with oppressive systems that we have, which is the theory of intersectionality coined by Kimberly Crenshaw. Quiet firing phenomenon by putting Black women in positions of power and then setting them up to fail. Quiet firing. That's really good. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Because that's what it is. Yeah, because you want the joy, again, satisfaction, happiness, I guess, of then maybe firing someone who you set up to fail. But you don't focus on that. Right? So that's why it's so important, like for us to not internalize any of this BS, please. If they're getting joy, satisfaction from watching you fail, like realizing that that is their issue, deep issue, that has absolutely nothing to do with you. Right? That's so true. Yes, y'all. So as we wind down, I want to thank y'all for being here. Let me know in the comments if you're watching the replay how intersectionality has impacted you at work. This is something I'll be exploring more about in 2025, just understanding like misogyny, sexism, right, the patriarchy, in addition to anti-Blackness, systemic racism, all of the other isms that we face, and how it impacts our experience at work, right? Which in the US, work is the center of our lives. So how is this impacting our lives? It's real. It's real. Yes, y'all, please, forgot to say this. Like this video if you like it. Subscribe to my channel for content like this in the future. And if you're watching the replay, please comment below. And yes, I want to thank y'all for being here. Again, how Black women are harmed by the glass ceiling and the glass cliff simultaneously. Intersectionality. Thank y'all for being here. Bye.